Reading today's Russian papers, it doesn't look as if today's peace talks in Abu Dhabi, involving officials from Russia, Ukraine and America, will produce a breakthrough. There's certainly no hint of compromise on Russia's part. The government paper Российская Газета reports that following a pause, Russian strikes on Ukraine's energy infrastructure have resumed. A military expert predicts we will continue to carry out strikes until the authorities in Kyiv sign a peace agreement on our terms. A military analyst says something very similar in Moskovsky Komsomolets today. The sooner the Ukrainian regime's energy and industrial base will be paralysed, the sooner we can speak about a real ceasefire, not a bogus one, on Russia's terms. Izvestia. Experts believe that ahead of this round of talks in the UAE, expectations should be modest. The parties will focus on technical and military questions, but the pivotal issues require discussion at a higher level. According to a political scientist, those issues include territorial questions and the future status of Ukraine in the European security system. But what about all the diplomacy we've seen recently? As Moskovsky Komsomolets points out, Putin envoy Dmitriev flies to America, officials from Moscow, Washington and Kyiv meet in the UAE, Ukraine discusses something separately with Europe, and of course there are private contacts too. And Trump declared in the White House, I think we're doing very well with Ukraine and Russia. For the first time I'm saying that. I think we're maybe going to have some good news. Oh yes, for the first time. As soon as I become president, I'll call Putin and Zelensky and end the war in a day. Remember that? The paper refers to a speech in Kyiv by NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte, where he mentioned that some European allies have announced that they will deploy troops to Ukraine after a deal is reached. Troops on the ground, jets in the air, ships on the Black Sea. The paper calls this self-hypnotism. Russia opposed and opposes the presence of foreign troops in Ukraine. And European countries are not prepared to deploy their forces there without security guarantees from the US. Washington has yet to confirm such guarantees. And as Putin's foreign policy aide Yuri Ushakov said, no one has got our approval for security guarantees for Ukraine, allegedly agreed by Kyiv, Washington and Europe, and without our approval, it's meaningless. And so that no one is left in any doubt, on February the 3rd, Russia came up with its version of good news, the most powerful missile and drone strike on Kyiv in a month. In this sense, we can agree with Trump that we're doing very well with Ukraine. I hope things will continue just as well. It occurs to me that line that Russia opposes the presence of foreign troops in Ukraine, which you hear a lot in Moscow. Russian officials clearly make an exception when it comes to Russian troops in Ukraine. Komsomolskaya Pravda refers to reports in the FT that Ukraine and its foreign partners have agreed some kind of multi-tier plan for security guarantees, under which no later than 72 hours after a Russian attack, there would be a coordinated military response by the EU and the US with direct participation of US troops. There's been no formal announcement of this. Still, the paper mocks the idea. What's been stopping the EU the last 4 years from entering the war on Ukraine's side, rather than fighting with Russia with the hand of Ukraine? If it's had no desire to do this up till now, it's unlikely to have it after a hypothetical peace. And what would the average European citizen say? And why would the US go to war with Russia? For Ukraine? This plan is more like a baby's dummy than a security guarantee. A direct confrontation of NATO and Russia would most probably end in an exchange of nuclear strikes and nuclear winter on the continent. Moscow continues to believe it has the initiative on the battlefield. But back home, the economic news for Russia isn't good. Kommersant reports that in January, India reduced its oil imports from Russia by 3.5 times. India being the largest buyer of Russia oil. Sales of new cars fell by 9.5% in January. The price of sugar did fall 7.4% due to increased production. But Nezavisima Gazeta reports that a systemic banking crisis has begun, but in a latent form. The share of problem loans of households and businesses has exceeded 10%. Moskovsky Komsomolets has this image of a hungry purse and reports that pensions and benefits have risen, but rising prices are rapidly eating away additional payments. Also, the share of workers transferred to shorter daily hours or to a part-time working week has risen to 14.4%, at least 8 million people, a whole army of people not working at full stretch.